Dongyo quickly couldn't bear it anymore and spat out a large mouthful of blood. When Jin Tak-kei's subordinates saw this, they were all extremely surprised, their eyes wide open. Jin Tae-kung's sharp spear blade was as fast as the wind, passing through the enemies, sending blood flying everywhere. Seo-chan turned his sister's face away to prevent her from looking at him. A look of surprise appeared on his face following Jin Tae-kung's every move. The group of pursuers quickly became covered in injuries, leaving no one intact. At the same time, the Systems Point Edition notification rang endlessly in Jin Tae-kung's ears. He was extremely happy, clutching his spear in his hand, preparing to attack. The second round, the group of people had not yet had time to breathe. Seeing this, they began to panic extremely. Jin Tae-kung took an offensive stance. The sharp tip of his spear pointed straight at the leader. He said coldly, "I will win against you." When the leader heard that, he was furious. He roared and then swung his sharp blade up to slash. The two leaders of both sides began to fight, causing smoke and dust to rise around them. The group of people on Jin Tae-kung and Seo-chan's side saw this scene and all stared with wide eyes. Very soon the fight stopped, and in front of the leader of the group pursuing Seoin was a giant bloody hole. Before falling down and out of breath, he struggled with the last bit of his strength and threatened,
Jin Tae-kyung, my eldest brother will definitely find you. Saying this, he fell face down on the dense snow, falling right at Jin Tae-kyung's feet.
A golden stream of power radiated around him. He immediately opened his mouth to absorb all this power. When he finished, he held his stomach in satisfaction and exclaimed, "Ah, my stomach is full."
A dark space with small calls echoing around. Gongchang gently opened his eyes. "What catches your eye of Seo?" Chun's young face. The boy and his sister saw that Gongchang was awake and happily called out to Gongchang. His body was covered with wounds and he was hugged tightly by two children. Outside, the snow continued to fall non-stop. After regaining some strength, Gongchang sat up, clasped his hands and said, "I don't know how to repay this kindness. I am so very thankful for what you have done for us."
"No need to be so formal. I only did what was right. And thinking I was just older to just finished my quest."
Gongchang bowed his head slightly and said softly, "Not only are you really good at martial arts, you are even extremely humble. Gongchang, have really received an extremely valuable lesson."
Jin Tae-kyung laughed in response, "I was just lucky. In any case, what happened?"
To hearing this question, the three people Gong, together with Seo-chan and Se, they all sadly bowed their heads. Gongchang recalled the past events and said sadly, "About 5 days ago, when the messenger bird sent a notice about the war, the Shuojuo area was already surrounded by them. There were about 100 soldiers hired by the Mountain Hang Sword sector to massacre our villages and madly burn all our houses. Thanks to the village chief and loyal soldiers, we were able to hold them off, so we were able to get the women and children to escape through a secret passage." Having said this, Gongchang stopped. He clenched his fists to suppress his pain, then suppressed his anger and continued, "However, after finding that shelter, they hunted us down." After saying that, Gongchang fell silent.
"How many pursues are there?"
"I'm not certain, but what I heard from one of the men that were tracking them was that, including Joe Pill, there are about 30 more of them."
30 of them? Exclaimed, eyes widely open.
"That's correct. That is why we must hurry and get out of." He did finish his sentence yet.
Jin Tae-kyung stood up and interrupted eloquently, "Then let's wait until those damn people to the end here."
When Gongchang heard this, he looked at Jin Tae-kyung in confusion.
"We must wipe them all. For evil bastards like them, we can't let a single one of them live." Thinking with smile, "If it's 30 of them, just how much experience is that?"
Gongchang with confused expression. "But, sir, please listen to what I'm saying."
"That's right. For monsters like them, we need to tear off their limbs and shred them parts. If it's a martial master like you, great savior, then I'm sure it's doable." To hear that, Gongchang covered the ear of his sister.
Put hand on his head for blessing. "You're absolutely correct. I shall take vengeance for you guys and kill them all." To hear that, big smile appeared on his face. "Really? A man's words are the same as 1,000 gold. I will make sure to kill then and level up."
Gongchang says after hear both of them, "Joe Pill is a martial master who has attained the peak realm. Finally they focus after hearing my words. He's one of the few martial masters who has attained the peak realm in all of Shaanxi. That was why, the moment our branch leader saw him, he accepted his loss and ordered me to escape. And that's because nobody has ever been able to survive after encountering him. Not to mention, all of his opponents have been killed as brutally as possible as well."
Phew, Seo-cheon.
"Yes, senior brother."
After hearing the words of Gongchang, Jin Tae-kyung body shaking with fear, and say, "It's probably more important that I escort you and your sister back. I've been rushing things, right? I'm also not feeling that good, since I've suffered some injuries from that fight from earlier."
Seo-cheon looking at him with doubtful expression. "He is completely fine."
Jin Tae-kyung noticed it, and with fearful look said, "It's internal injuries."
Seo-cheon surprised to look at his expression like this.
"Let's head back to the main family. Everyone get ready to leave."
Emotionally calling great savior. Grabbed him, tear in eyes calling again great savior.
"Seo-cheon, I'm a little busy right now, so save whatever you have to say for later, okay?" Ignoring his emotionally behavior. Then said to other, "Hey, Hurry up, we don't have much time.
Uncle Gong Chung stand up for going and little sister watching my emotionally behavior, still trying to convince while grabbing him tightly and also crying what tilde by great savior.
Ah, that reminds me. I apologize for not asking about your name sooner, even though you saved our lives. I know it's a bit late, but would you be kind to tell us your name, great savior?
Ah, I'm Ji, and suddenly hold himself to speaking. And thinking, all of this happened to them because of me. If they found out my name, wouldn't they want to try and kill me instead? Smile and says my name is Ho.
Suddenly a voice called Jin Tae-kyung, you fucking bastard. I will kill you. It's Mu Jin who just woke up after beaten.
To hear his name, Jin.
Mu Jin running towards Jin Tae-kyung for attacking again, I'll fucking kill you.
Gong Chung also surprised to hear his name, Jin Tae-kyung.
Mu Jin jumped to attack Jin Tae-kyung using his hands and abusing. I will kill you this time, but again got a slap on his cheeks.
At the top of the mountain, Snow Falin. Snow cover the sword and also bodies that killed. One of the members of Hung's sword sector killed and blood on his mouth. One of them got big hole on his chest. Looking at them killed like this, they feel surprised. Then suddenly a smile appeared on his face and eyes got red. It's interesting.